Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you my entire plant collection for 2024. Most of my plants are growing in my outdoor greenhouse. I have a video on this greenhouse which I'll link below. Let's get into it. First up is this tray with a mix of cuttings in it. These are the Raphidophora tetrasperma cuttings, which have started to grow their new leaves. And this one even has a little bit of variegation on it. And this one here is a little Syngonium red spot cutting. These ones are Philodendron El Choco, and these are from my Philodendron Milano. This one is Philodendron Splendid and Philodendron Prince of Orange. And this one is my White Princess. I can't remember this one. It's an alocasia from my mum. Same as the other one, I think it might be a Silver Dragon. And this one is an alocasia Black Velvet, which no matter where I put it, it is unhappy. So if you have any tips, please let me know. This one is Homolomina Freckles. It gets its name from the freckly variegation on its leaves. This leaf has some really nice variegation on it. And it's just growing in my arid mix. And mealybugs seem to love this plant as well. This is my Snow Queen. I just have it hanging off the shelf. And this is a little White Princess cutting as well. And this one is my Philodendron Majestic, I believe. Its newest leaf. And this is my Philodendron Silver Cloud. It needs to be repotted desperately. And then this is my variegated alocasia, which has started growing again from being dormant in winter. Don't know what happened with this leaf. It did have spider mites and then I sprayed it, so I'm wondering if the spray maybe did some damage. And then this one is my alocasia Silver Dragon. Which is pretty happy in my arid mix as well. And this big one is my Philodendron Ring of Fire. This is one of its new leaves, which looks really good. And this is its newest leaf. They're a lot wider than the previous leaves, which is good. And it's growing this new one, which it looks like it has a lot of pink in it, which should look nice. This is another Philodendron. I don't know how to pronounce the name, so I popped it on the screen. It is growing very long. I really need to repot it, but I just haven't. And then this is my alocasia zebrina, which I found, and it has some green variegation on it. And then this one is my Monstera Uno. It's still in the mix that I bought it in, but it seems to be growing pretty well. And then this one is Monstera adansonii. It's grown this new leaf recently, and I just have it growing on a pole with orchid bark and cocoa chips, and it's finally attaching to it with an aerial root. And this one is my philodendron pink princess. It is growing very crazy and I need to propagate it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And it's beside my philodendron billietiae, which it's doing okay. It's got this nice leaf. Just waiting for it to grow a new leaf though. I might need to give it a repot as well. And then this one is my partner's cocoa tree. This one is a variegated alocasia that I found at a plant store. And it's growing a new leaf as well. And it's potted in my aroid mix. This is another variegated alocasia that I have. I do struggle a bit with this one. The lighter green colours seem to brown really easily. And a little corm has grown a little leaf as well. And this one is my Monstera adansonii Indonesian form. This is its newest leaf that it's grown. I still haven't repotted it. And then this is my green alocasia, which is also struggling with spider mites, but it is opening a new leaf, which is exciting. This is my philodendron Jose Buono. It is also struggling with spider mites. I've sprayed it, wet it down, and they just keep coming back. It's growing 2 new leaves though, which is good. It's just potted onto a moss pole, one of my plastic back ones. And it has finally started to root onto it as well. Definitely one of my favourite plants. And this one is my low variegated Monstera albo. This is one of its newest leaves. I did recently chop this one, and I have some propagating inside. This was the first leaf it gave me straight from propagating, and then this was the next one. It's a lot bigger and it has a bit more variegation as well, which is really good. And then this is another philodendron. I think it might be an autumn or painted lady, autumn queen maybe, I can't quite remember. I actually won this plant from a plant fair that I went to. And this is another philodendron pink princess. This one has some really amazing variegation on it. This one's its newest leaf and it's growing another new one as well. And then this plant actually has two planted into it, the one with a lot of variegation and then the other side doesn't have any variegation on it. But I don't quite mind, I still like how it looks. And then this is a white princess, which I cut back and it's started to grow again. And that is the Philodendron gloriosum that I originally had, which I cut into a few pieces. So this one is Caladium lindeni. It's growing a new leaf as well. And this one is just a regular Monstera adansonii mint, which is finally coming back from having scale. And this is an anthurium. I can't quite remember the name of it, so I'll pop it on the screen. And these are some corms that I grew from the variegated alocasia that I found. These leaves have some nice variegation on them. This one is Monstera adansonii tricolor. I believe it's a new plant that I've added to my collection recently, and I haven't repotted it yet. These are Alocasia silver dragon corms that I've got growing in vermiculite. And this is another Syngonium red spot. This one is one of the cuttings from the low variegated Monstera albo. And it looks like it's starting to grow some new growth on it as well. This one is another new plant to my collection. It's the Philodendron micans variegated. This is the newest leaf that it's grown and it doesn't have any variegation unfortunately, but this was the leaf before it, which is really pretty. I haven't repotted it yet either, it's still in the mix that I bought it in. This one's Syngonium red spot tricolor. For some reason the leaves that it's giving me now are just fully pink. And this one is my Philodendron Florida Beauty. I actually won this plant at a plant fair as well, and this is the newest leaf that it's given me. I can't wait to see what it looks like once it hardens off. It's growing some really good roots as well. This one is another Philodendron Splendid. Next is this Philodendron Florida Ghost. This is another new plant to my collection. This is the newest leaf it's given me. This one is my Cebu Blue. I just have it wrapped around in the pot and just letting it hang. I should really wrap the long strands into the pot and see if I can get it to grow, make it more bushy. But at the moment it's not looking too bad. These are my Raphidophora tetrasperma cuttings. I have a video on these, and I have an updated video as well showing their growth, but this is them at the moment. They've grown a lot of roots and they're even starting to grow new leaves as well. And this one is my Alocasia Frydek. This one was a birthday present. This is one of its leaves, my favourite one. And it's just potted in arrowed mix as well. And then another Philodendron Splendid. And this one is another Philodendron. I can't quite remember its name, so I'll pop it on the screen as well. I should really have it growing on a pole, but at the moment I just kind of have it sitting there. This one is another Raphidophora tetrasperma cutting, and it's even grown a new leaf. And that's everything for this little bit of shelf. This one is Epipremnum pinnatum variegata. These are the two newest leaves, and they are definitely the biggest and nicest so far. And it's growing a new one as well. And you can kind of see that it's rooting into the pole really well. It's also potted in my arrowed mix, and I think it might even be rooting into the rocks underneath. And these are all the roots, you can kind of see them rooting into the pole. It's almost time to chop and extend this one as well. This is my Philodendron gloriosum. I have a few of these as well. This is definitely my biggest one. I have it potted in a long pot so it can climb or crawl along the top of it. It's definitely one of my favourite plants. And this one's my Monstera Thai constellation, which is growing this beautiful leaf as well. I had to cut a bit of that leaf off because it was white and it just went brown. And this one is my Monstera elbow. It's got some really good variegation. And heaps of roots as well. And it's finally started to grow a new leaf. I've been waiting months for it to grow a new leaf because I've been struggling with thrips. And this one is its oldest leaf. These ones are Philodendron gloriosum cuttings. I've only recently potted them up, so there's not many roots in there at the moment. And this is my Raphidophora tetrasperma variegated mother plant. Some parts have some really good variegation, other parts are just green, but that's fine, it helps it grow really well. And this is where I've airlaid it. They're growing some roots. I'm not very good at keeping the moss moist, so it could be doing a lot better. And this is my philodendron Milano. I did recently have to chop it back because it had thrips. But it's finally started to root into the pole a little bit. This is definitely one of my favourite plants as well. This one is my Monstera dubia. I could definitely give this plant some more love. It's just growing on a piece of wood at the moment, but I probably need to put it on something better and chop it back as well. And this is another philodendron gloriosum. If you can't tell, I love this plant. This is its new leaf, and it's growing in a long pot as well. Okay, on the top shelf, this is my philodendron El Choco Red. This is the mother plant for the little baby ones I had at the start of the video. One of its new leaves there. It's growing pretty well now. And this one is Monstera El Salvador. That's its newest leaf that it's finally given me after waiting months for it to grow as well. And this one is Monstera Laniata variegated. I still haven't potted it and put it on a pole yet, and I really need to do that. But it is very pretty. And this one, when I bought it, was a Florida Ghost, but now it's just a very light green colour. And I think there's some kind of fungus issue happening as well, but it has rooted onto the pole really well. And this is meant to be a philodendron Parese verde. Don't know if I said that correctly. I had to cut it back because it had heaps of spider mites and it just wasn't doing very well, but now it's growing pretty good. And this is another anthurium. I'll pop the name on the screen because I cannot remember what it's called. But it's growing some really good roots. This one is Syngonium batic. I have cut it back multiple times and it's finally growing really nicely. These are the older leaves. It's in my old potting mix, so I really need to repot it as well. But these are the newer leaves and they're very pretty. And this is Philodendron White Princess again. This was the mother plant, but I had to cut it back as well, and it's finally growing back really nicely. And this one is a mango tree. I'm actually growing that from seed, and it's growing quite quickly. And beside it is a coffee tree. And that's all the plants that I'm currently growing in my outdoor greenhouse. It gets morning sun and I have 90% shade cloth over the top, and the plants seem to love it in here. This is my large Monstera deliciosa. I cut this one back a couple months ago because caterpillars ate it, and it's finally growing back really nicely. This is another Monstera deliciosa that I have just sitting underneath it, beside my dachshund statues. This one is a Picasso peace lily, and this one is a domino peace lily. These get a little bit of morning sun quite early in the morning, so it's not too harsh for them. And it's even growing a flower for me. This one's another pink princess. This is its newest leaf, which is really pretty. The top of this plant looks quite nice, but it is quite leggy, as you can see here. And this little baby one that grew a full pink leaf, which is nice. This is another philodendron white princess. This one is Syngonium fantasy. And this one is Syngonium Mojito. And this is a philodendron Florida Beauty as well, I think, just the green version. These are some strawberries that I have growing in leca, beside another Syngonium fantasy. This is another anthurium. This is philodendron silver cloud. It's a cutting from the other plant that I had in the shade house. This is a Syngonium velvet. And I can't remember the name of this one, but it's a red vein or something. And these are some cuttings that I have growing in water. So these are white princess philodendron. This one's grown a fully white leaf almost. These are some more white princess with some pink princess, and also philodendron verrucosum. These are silver satin cuttings. And these ones are philodendron micans. I should really repot these soon. This one's another philodendron. I can't quite remember the name of this one. And this one is a Prince of Orange. And this is another philodendron that I also can't remember the name of. I think it's a Congo. And this is my fiddle leaf fig, which is just surviving, but it has grown those 2 new leaves and this little baby one down the bottom. And these are some Syngonium that I have just outside in the sun, so they're a little bit scorched, but they've also grown some really pretty leaves. This is inside in the office, and this is cuttings from the low variegated Monstera elbow. And this is just a regular green Monstera. And this one's in the bathroom. This is just a marble queen. I have it growing in leca in water, and it's growing pretty well. This is a variegated sensation peace lily, which I have growing upstairs on top of my fish tank. This is the philodendron heartleaf variegated, which I have growing just beside the window upstairs as well. It has been struggling with thrips, but I think hopefully I've gotten rid of them and it's growing quite well now. And this one is a Potho's Silver Lady, I'm pretty sure. I just have it growing around the pot. It's not really doing anything fancy. And this is my Ikea cabinet where I have some cuttings in here. So these are Monstera adansonii cuttings. I just have these in sphagnum moss and they're growing pretty well. These are some alocasia green velvets that I've grown from corn. This is another Raphidophora tetrasperma. And philodendron micans. And then down here I have more marble queen cuttings and white princess cuttings. And that concludes my entire plant collection for 2024. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.